Good morning, everyone. I hope this finds everyone well and living your best life in Jesus Christ. C.S. Lewis wrote, "You never know how much you really believe anything until its truth or falsehood becomes a matter of life and death to you." One of the very first jobs I had as a teenager taught me the importance of that quote when I was hired to work at a car parts distributor for the summer doing inventory. This was a hot, dirty job where you had to count what seemed at the time like an endless series of screws, bolts, fasteners, pipes, and car parts of every imaginable description in a huge, stifling hot Quonset hut. Often we would have one person up on a rack a couple of stories in the air, counting parts in a bin and yelling numbers down to the person who was writing into the inventory books. When I was hired, I was told emphatically that we must wear hard hats at all times. Personally, I thought this was just plain silly. I mean, how much danger could I be in when most of the time I was just sitting on the floor filling out a book? I thought this was just another rule that I could ignore and often did when it got too hot and uncomfortable to wear. However, about 2 weeks into the job, I was sitting on the floor at the foot of a huge rack, filling in numbers, when another of our crew dropped an iron pipe fitting, roughly the size of a softball and weighing substantially more, directly on top of my head from about 25 feet in the air. Thankfully, I was wearing my helmet due to having been yelled at a short while earlier for taking it off. I remember quite clearly the experience of waking up on the cold concrete floor with a ringing headache and the supervisor asking, "How many fingers am I holding up?" At that moment, I learned that the phrase, "helmets save lives," was absolutely true. This truth wasn't something I could throw around telling my friends, "Well, you know, helmets may be true for you, but who are you to say that they're my truth?" I had experienced the truth of a helmet for myself, and I was convinced. Perhaps you've experienced this as well. The truth in the end is immovable and unavoidable. Often we come to terms with the truth when we have no other choice. The truth is like light. It illuminates and it exposes what is real. This is why Jesus claimed if people followed him in his teaching, quote, "Then you will know the truth and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. When life gets messy and everything around us comes crashing down, we long for an anchor in the storm that's unchanging, timeless and true, just like that helmet that saved my life that day. I found out of anything I've ever read or heard, the Bible is the only sure and unchanging source of truth in my life. This is a wonderful message, except our culture tells us another set of messages. The French philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "There are no facts, only interpretations." The message being that objective truth is unknowable, and that it comes down to your interpretation, and that ultimately it comes down to you and what you think. Well, just for the record, these are all lies. Our generation generally hesitates to accept any truth outside of personal experience and opinion. We like to avoid arguments about personal behavior, morals, politics, and religion by employing that well-worn phrase, "Well, whatever works for you, we all have our truths." Well, let me make this clear. Truth is not just a point of view. Truth is not just a list of rules, yours, mine, ours, or anybody else's. Truth is not the ever-changing crowd consensus. No, truth is a person whom you get to know and who knows you. This person's story is told in the Bible, and his name is Jesus. Jesus offers a kind of freedom that comes from living and breathing what is true. Instinctively, we can appreciate this and recognize we have a need for this kind of stability. Not only that, but knowing Jesus is the key to life or death for all eternity. See, our generation hungers for an answer and desires to find something valuable that we can believe in and trust. And while we're an informed generation, while we're linked together by technology, while we're aware of many of the answers our culture provides, our instinctive hunger for truth continues, and we experience a gnawing dissatisfaction. The good news is that there is an answer to this quest for truth found in the Bible. The Bible isn't just here to offer us rules. The Bible offers a relationship with the truth. Like the main hero in an epic narrative, Jesus is the key to all of life. Yours, mine, and ultimately the whole world's. and that is the truth. I hope you have a terrific day today in Christ, and I want to remind you that I'm here should you need me, and I love you all.